criminal justice, healing, education. Let's awaken the people.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are currently watching from. You guys should know me by now, but if you don't, my name is Holly. I am the founder of this lovely program called Owning Mimosas. And as you guys know, we value human life, criminal justice, healing, and educating for the Black and minority communities with a note that we love all people. Now, before we get this episode started, you guys know how we do over here at Owning Mimosas. We have a few housekeeping rules before we get the episode started. So here is a message from our lovely partners, Imuna Soaps and Canals Press.
Sanjanette Sayers here from Imuna Soaps and Essentials. Just wanted to send out a reminder for all of you Morning Mimosa community members. If you go to my website and use promo code MM23, you will get a percentage off of your entire order. And my website is www.emunahsoaps.com. God bless.
Hey y'all, it's Auntie Harley, CEO, founder, and owner, lots of hats, of Ganelle's Crafts. Speaking of hats, our signature product, the Flower Crown, can be found right at our Instagram page, Ganelle's Crafts. But that's not even why we're here. I'm here today, number one, to give a shameless plug for these do-rags, because y'all been eating these up, okay? And number two, I'm giving another shameless plug. If you mention the amazing podcast, Morning Mimosas, shout out to the beautiful host, Holly, at your checkout, you get $10 off your full order. And we make some of everything, baby, not just do-rags and hats. So definitely come see us over at Ganelle's Crafts. If we haven't made it already, if you send us an idea, we could probably make it for you. We adore you. We love you. From our family to yours, get you something handmade.
I just want to thank Imuna Soaps and Essentials and Ganelle's Press. You guys know I use both of their products very, very much so. You guys usually see them with my flower crown. So shout out to both the lovely ladies, Jet Sayers and Harley Hendricks. We love you guys very much. Now, to the episode at hand. You guys saw the thumbnail earlier. We're going to be talking about what? Stress management and coping, because April is Stress Awareness Month. So, without further ado, let me welcome these lovely people. And there's a lot of them, so I'm going to let them do the honors. But before we do that, let's give them a proper morning mimosas welcome with this. Hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, guys. This is our lovely channel for the stress management and coping. Let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. Who wants to go first?
Hi, I'm Otissa Harrison, co-host of the Fake Therapy podcast and friend of Miss Holly Cisa. Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Tia. I am the host of 2K's Chronicles of the Black Sheep, also a friend of the host.
I am Hezekiah Grice, the host of the Unwrapped Mind podcast.
I'm a registered nurse and newly friend of Holly Cisa. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you guys for being on here. I really, really appreciate it. And as you guys know, today's topic is stress management and coping. And I just wanted to make sure that the viewers, got to hear from other people that go through stress just like you do every single day. So let's get into the topic of stress management and how we get to coping with that. First and foremost, stress management, what does that look like for each person on the panel? Who wants to go first? Let's not all go at once.
You know, it was so funny when you asked me to be on this topic. I was like, does she know me that well and how I handle stress? You know what I'm saying? Because, I actually am just getting a hold of not handling them in unhealthy ways. So that was always my thing. Like, mainly when I handle stress, it would be to get a drink, get a smoke, you know what I'm saying, call somebody. But it's just, these days how I've been trying to channel my stress and deal with it in healthy ways. It's like going to the gym, journal more. I am in therapy, and that was helpful because it's like sometimes when you're stressed, it's like it's like a bunch of things that is why you're responding a different way, why you're overstimulated, and sometimes you can't really share that with people. So it's just like getting in therapy and having somebody to talk to and validate my feelings and being like, oh no, like you ain't wrong with how you feeling. So it's like that's been really cool. So I've just been finding different healthier ways to cope with it.
I love that you mentioned therapy because that's a huge stigma in our community, as you guys know. So I'm really proud of you because I am also in therapy, and that's another way that I do my coping as well. And I'm not gonna lie, I smoke my blunt to cope. That's my way of coping with stress. But you're right. I can do healthier things outside of that. So thank you for bringing that up.
And it was funny, as I was telling Holly, I had just finished my therapy session and realized how much I was stressing and didn't realize until that therapy session until we started doing this checklist. And I was like, oh shit. I'm damn. I was operating at a level that I didn't realize that I was even stressed until I had that session. And as soon as I got off that session, then she messaged me and was like, "Hey, can you be on this episode I have coming up on stress management?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's funny." So, for me, it's getting back into a space of meditating. My therapist has been able to help me find a way that fits me to get me back into journaling. And now, right now, me and my kids are doing swim classes. So I'm noticing even the swim classes, they just being in the water has been a big stress reliever. And also music, because I am a music junkie. So yeah.
I love that. I don't know how to swim, but I'm gonna learn one day.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
why I'm
good,
in
family.
class.
That's a good bonding experience with the kids too. So that also helps with stress. I love
Definitely. Hezekiah, don't shake your head at me. It's a whole lot of us black folks that don't be trying to be knowing how to swim. So I'm not
that.
by myself.
Okay.
No,
And I knew
it's a,
how. I just didn't keep up with it because I learned in my younger days, but I didn't keep up with it. So it was just like, yeah, let's
It's
go and do this together because I need a
I'm,
refresher. But
I'm judging, but that's cool. I'm
it's
judging.
listen. You
Oh
can
no, I
judge
thought this was a safe space.
because
I
I
too stop
I'm from
If
swimming
you
in
can't swim, I'm judging.
I can swim now. Put it like that. I can swim now.
I
So
think we all should know how to swim. I'm one of them because I said I was gonna put me on if
I
I
bet all y'all like the beach too, don't y'all?
I love the beach. I
I
love to
just
hear the
started
waves.
liking the
I
beach.
love to hear the waves. That's like the beach, sun, listening to the waves. Those are good places to kind of like get centered. Just overall that I've noticed about myself and why you know areas and why it's not for me. Um,
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
oh, sorry.
It's
What about
okay.
no?
Um,
Can you hear
You
me
try saying something again.
now? Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
That's so weird. I had some good stuff that I just said. Okay, so let me repeat then, because technology is gonna do what technology does.
sure does.
Um, so what I was saying was that I can, commend you on the getting yourself and the kids into swim because I just was telling one of my friends they had a community board, like a Facebook group, and they put in, you know, helping people to sign up to learn how to swim. And I kept saying, "Oh, I need to learn how to swim," because we did it when we were younger, but of course I didn't keep up with it. And it's essential, you know, to learn. And my son is 9. I'm like, okay, we want to go on this vacation. I would not let him go to any water activities with anybody else because I was afraid because he thought he was a swimmer and he's not. And so I'm like, okay, it's time for us to learn how to swim. So I do think that, you know, that's a great thing. That's a form of therapy. And like I said, I like to hear the waves. So I'm like, okay, just in case I need to be prepared. So I listen, don't judge us, okay?
I feel you on that. But we got okay, here, keep this though. This is another way that we cope with stress, right? We like to clap, we like to laugh, right?
Right.
This is beautiful. You know, this just leads into, you know, the subject of today, stress management, being able to laugh at each other, you know, respectfully, not the disrespectful way that the youth does it now. But, you know, just, you know, what is that other saying? Living once, YOLO, like Drake said, even though people should have known back in the day that you only live once. Don't get me started on that. But just live it.
So,
Don't get me started on that because I was on a whole tangent about YOLO, okay? But we're trying to reduce stress, not add to it. But yeah, for those of you who for those of you who are tuning in, guys, this is our amazing panel for the stress management and focus episode. Now, I want to hear the male perspective of stress. That's one of the things I'm always talking about here on Most is that we love our men and we want to make sure that our men have a voice. So we have this king on here today to talk about stress management from a male's perspective. Can you go ahead and speak on that a little bit? We want to hear from you, brother.
Oh well, so and stop me if I go on a tangent. But my favorite stress management tool is I cuss a lot. Like I do. I cuss like Ricky Pryor to no avail. I cuss
Love
all the
it.
time. If I'm in a place where I can cuss, I cuss all the time. And that to me is a huge stress management. Like I get in my car, I don't even think I say a real word because everything is F this, it. I just cuss. And then I perform my private rap concerts in my car because I got my music playing. So I'm always giving my private shows in my car. Uh, Really, for me, stress management to me is always spending time alone so I can get back to who I am as a person, as a father, as a husband, you know, just as an all around. And I'm a mentor. So the time I have alone is how I manage my stresses because I learned one of my biggest things is I don't put things on a monolith. I put things linear. So everything is a number one. And I after a while I tend to treat it that way. And I have to go back to thinking everything is a monolith. There's a 1 and there's a 10. I just got to make sure I'm putting it appropriately in the right spaces. And that's how I manage my stress, just going back to who I am as a person. But cussing, I tell you, and I'm gonna say right now, you ain't got to guess. I'm 50 years old, and if I don't look 50, yeah, see, I see a look on your face. I cuss all the time. Like you catch me on a good day, you're gonna be like, whoo, like wow.
what
Even
are
my
people
wife sometimes be like,
with this age game? Because it's like I wouldn't have thought 50.
Me
I would have
either.
thought
Not
this
me
was
neither.
Excellent.
turn up.
my wife tells me sometimes, babe, you gotta like not cussing. I'm always this, that, this. If the kids ain't around and I'm not around kids or really old people, but that's my stress management. And I don't carry stress. Wherever you stress me at, that's where I'm gonna leave your stress. I'm not gonna take your stress and walk it anywhere. I'm gonna handle that problem right there and I'm gonna be done with it. It comes off kind of mean, like, oh, you know, but I deal with stress where it's at. You piss me off, I'm gonna piss you off right back right there. I'm gonna go eat my lunch and I'm gonna walk about my day. I don't carry stress with me. It's just not something I'm into. I don't bring it, so I'm not carrying it. So those are my things to manage my stress and relieve those things.
Love it.
I love it. That And I mean, I'm telling you, what was that thing earlier about like the rules of the show? There is no rules of the show. What was that thing that cussing is colorful what? Language. So I'm all, I'm all for it. Thank you so much for your perspective. Ladies, obviously the perspective of the ladies, how do we cope with stress management? Other than we be cussing too.
Oh yeah, because the other day I got off work and I was a cussing ass. I ain't gonna even lie. Went to go pick my son up, and I was like, "Hey, I need a cuss pass because today is just not that day." And he was like, "Okay, mom, yeah." So I can highly relate, and you just gotta have one of the moments. And if I'm going there, I'm at a certain level. I'm just highly pissed off.
Well, who listen to him
You kind of
told me
breaking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up again.
I don't know why this
Maybe it's the service in DC.
kind of hate on me today. What's going on? What
Okay,
about
you
now?
clear right now. Yeah, you clear right
Okay,
now.
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
No,
No, no. Mm-mm.
proceed.
It's,
Okay.
okay.
I
But
was gonna say, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, another stress reliever for me, or how I handle it in the moment, is I really now have been trying to get back into my hobbies or things that I used to enjoy when I was younger, and maybe I put it down. You know what I'm saying? Because I became an adult and started, acquiring adult responsibilities. So, so I've been, practicing on, I have a fitness pole. That's what I call it, but we all know what America will call it. Wait, you see,
Oh,
Stacey,
my bad.
that's the same thing my
My
dad
bad.
said. He said, "Girl," when my father, so he said, "Girl." That's what they calling it today. I said, "That's what we're gonna call it for you." So I'm calling it. I'm trying, So, but I've been getting into that, getting back into reading. And it's been
Mm.
hard because it's like, like I said, I've acquired all these adult responsibilities. I now have two boys. I have the job to sustain the living of these two boys. And so it's just like it gets hard trying to prioritize it. But I had to understand that, like I can't do anything unless I'm good. So it's like if my stress isn't good, if my and if I'm always irritable, because that was a thing for me. Like when I'm overstimulated and overstressed, now I'm very irritable. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
spreading it to people that didn't deserve it, and it's like, okay, it's okay if things maybe get done at a slower pace, so that you are not responding in an unhealthy manner. And so I just had to understand that life is always going to be stressful. It's just that I'm just going to have to find ways to um, attack it so that I won't be, adding to my stress. Because, me being irritable and then realizing that I'm spreading my irritability, now I feel bad. Now I'm over here feeling bad because I'm like, oh, I done lashed out on everybody, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't need that. So it's just like, it's a trickle down effect. So I had to, prioritize myself. And I'm proud of myself now for, choosing the channels, the healthy channels of therapy, of getting back into my hobbies and things of that nature. So, yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
No, I
You
can hear
you
that you
hit on
love.
the. I'm sorry, I hate to cut you off.
No,
Oh, but she hit on a big thing. Communicating is important, especially if you're a stressor. If you're one of the people who take on a lot of stress, you have to be able to communicate, especially importantly to the people in your close proximity. Because proximity, people in your proximity get the blunt of your stress, and it's almost never their fault. So you take a stress of a whole day. Most of us have kids or in a companion, that person comes in and hits you as soon as you walk in the door with something, you're like, boom. And they're sitting there like, wait a minute. I just asked you how your day was, but you've been carrying everybody else's stuff and now you're letting loose on them. Once you start identifying what your stressors are, and I always tell long time ago, I gave my kids the example of my cup is full. So what I did is I showed them, hey, when my cups start getting full, I have to stop or it'll spill over. Because I showed them what happens when the cups spill over. There's nothing; it just spills over and gets everybody wet. So I started telling them, hey, Daddy's cup is full. I need a little bit, and they would back up and let me get my time. Because at the time they were younger, they didn't understand that Daddy's stressing. I had to give them something they can understand. Now they're older, but they still grasp it. They can see it now if I'm getting there. So communication is a huge thing, and I'm glad you said that you communicate to people. That is, people don't know how important that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Or
Communication, communication nowadays is so poor. Like, it's just ridiculous how many people miscommunicate and how a miscommunication turns into something completely, something that it doesn't need to be. So I'm also glad that you mentioned that, because communication is a. It's funny because we learn communication from the time we're born, right? But people still lack that.
Well, I kind of feel like, society has created this space to where, like, you don't advertise what's going on with you because, like, we all got our own thing. Don't nobody want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? You a negative Nancy. You got this, always got a cloud going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, so to a degree, I feel like the environment has made people get to a point where they don't really tell folks what's going on. You only kind of you don't ask the question until you notice your person that's next to you moving in a way where it's like, okay, that was weird. Like you normally don't respond like that. So what's that about? It only comes out in that way. So I feel like that's why sometimes I try to give a little grace. Because even though we are taught things in our formative years, what I'm saying, society has kind of showed us that, like, oh, it's not acceptable though. Like, what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, it's tough. It's tough all around. I'll be trying to find the middle ground, the balance. So I'll be understanding.
I do also I also feel like it goes with if it's the normalcy of what others may perceive. Like some people don't think counseling is good. Like people say, oh, you're going to counseling, but really equate you to being crazy or something wrong with you because some help. I, I
You break
Okay, I
up.
heard everything. So yeah,
And she was on the roll. I hate
yeah,
that.
she was on the roll. I heard her up until that point.
no,
No.
I feel
No.
like it's really upsetting. Like it's like, come on, like the DC guys is like really trying to mess with me today. I
Are you
don't
connected
know.
to the internet now? Or are you still on the are you connected to the
I
internet?
off, but let if it's just
All right.
yeah,
No.
But to piggyback off of what she said, because I don't want to lose her thought, the community has looked at people crazy for you going to see a therapist or counseling, like what we were saying earlier.
That's
So it's like I said, society has kind of, warped us into this new wave of thinking. So now it's like, now we're asking people to open up and communicate and share and all that good stuff. But it's hard. It's hard. It's very hard. And you just never know how people gonna perceive you. They'll walk away, you know what I'm saying, probably leave, you know what I'm saying, be like, oh, okay, it was nice seeing you, girl. Be like, I will never talk to that heifer again. She sounds nuts. Don't know. You just don't know. You become a status. You know what I'm saying? Like it just be strange. It's just strange. So I understand why some people, you know what I'm saying, are a little apprehensive to just opening up to everybody.
I
It
do
is kind of stressful, especially
things.
when you got to go and you talk about therapy. But I think especially as adults, we have to break that cycle. It is on people who go to therapy. It is on people who use therapists. It is on people who are not okay to be able to stand up for not just ourselves but everybody else. Because if we don't, like everybody here appears and seems to be normal, and all our friends probably think we have it all together all the time. The minute you start telling your friends, I'm not okay. Probably 45 to 65% of the time, they start to see you different. Or more importantly, they start to see that it's okay. And I got a shirt that says it. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah,
And I got like maybe two or three of them, and I wear them all the time because I want people to ask me about therapy. I want people to ask me about not being okay. I want to start those conversations. If we, and I don't want to say just go out there flaunting and throwing it in their face, but if we don't put it in their face like they put it in our face, not to see it,
Yeah.
we will remain in that very big closet. Because everybody here, I'm looking at y'all. I would never think anybody looking at me right now is going to therapy for anything.
I love that. You know, hey, that's listen. I love being told that because hey, you don't want to look like your problems. The homegirls
Right.
got okay. They are there. They are loud and proud.
But you know what? When you tell me you go to therapy, it helps me connect with you on another level, and maybe say if she's strong enough to go to therapy, maybe I'm strong enough to go to therapy because it takes a lot. Because and I'm a kind of going to a tangent and going to my past. I was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. I seen a lot of stuff. One of my biggest reasons for going to therapy, because I always said I don't want to be shooting people in the ass at Walmart. I walked past the therapist's door every day for a year. Every day. I couldn't knock on the door. And then finally I knocked on that door and said, I need help. That was my strongest moment, was saying, I need help. Walking at the door and walking away is the weak thing because it's quitting. Walking through that door was the strongest thing I ever did. And it helped me, like I say, I'm still here because I could be shooting people at Walmart and I'm not. So when I see people put together like y'all, definitely talk about your therapy and talk about the fact that you use it because it helps people who aren't as strong as us say, you know what, I'm gonna do it too because I've been thinking about it and I don't know nobody who does it. And when they be like, well, you look like you got it all together all the time, then they go get it. And we can start opening that door for everybody else. The door that we all walk through hard or begrudgingly or didn't want to, we can help other people walk through easy.
I love that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No,
And you know, I mean,
I highly agree with that. I am very big on therapists, very big on mental health. I now
yes.
have a resident therapist that comes on my podcast every month, and we've been covering the effects of grief and trauma, even in relationships. So we have that. Also with me, my resident therapist that I have also has free grief as well as free therapy services through her. I have another black therapist that is now my therapist because I switched from the therapist I had because I felt like I had outgrown her and it just wasn't getting it no more. So I found me another black therapist that I have now, and she's amazing. And I refer her to other people as well, because the people that I come across and deal with that come on my podcast, they're all for helping the betterment of us, because a lot of us
hello.
do have
Can you hear
trauma
me now?
and people don't realize how the trauma affects and shows up in relationships and life, and it really leaves you in a stuck position. So in order for us
Mm-hmm.
to grow and to kill the stigma that we have, because there's a stigma with therapy just like there's a stigma with mental health, we have to
Hmm.
kill those things because there's people out here that are needing help and scared to ask because of the negative effects that our community gives to us for saying, hey, I'm not okay, hey, I need
Right.
help. So we have to
Yeah.
also be a vessel, even with having these podcasts, we're opening the doors and even working on ourselves.
Oh, yeah, and I love that you said that because as a nurse, I worked in the mental health, behavioral health units, and it was so many frequent flyers, especially of African American descent and other cultures of mental health. Just having those struggles and having to kind of cope with the other patients because that was the stigma. Like, you in a institution, something's wrong with you, you have a problem. And so a lot of times they didn't have these outlets, and they would stop taking their medication because it was a problem or an issue. So they will have these breakdowns, and then that's when they will have to come to the psychiatric emergency room, and they will get admitted for a couple of days until they get back on their medication regimen. And so I feel like society has, especially in the Black community, has really gave us this thought like it's something really wrong with you if you have a mental health disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong with you if you seek a counselor. Oh, you're crazy. You're this, you're that. Um, I've experienced a lot of PTSD that I didn't really want to kind of bring to the storefront during COVID because I worked on a COVID unit. I seen people die, so having to try to save people's lives when something is going on during a pandemic was very traumatizing for me. It took me a long time to even come forth to even say, hey, I'm not okay. And I had a lot of like mental things going on that I never discussed because none of your friends or family could really understand. I remember I shared a story with my brother and my sister, and they literally were like, oh wow, I didn't know that you was going through that, like that really happened, like that's what you deal with. And a lot of people think that because you're a nurse or or RN, oh, all you do is pass pills all day. They don't think we saving people's lives, we putting our lives on the line. They all were worried about how much, oh, y'all nurses making all this money, y'all good, yes, and the third, but y'all don't realize the stress that you imagine not only being short staffed, but you also have critical patients in your hands that you have to take care of on a regular basis. And if something happens to them, it's pretty much if something happens, the littlest thing, if you make a mistake or anything like that, that's on you. That's on your license. It's like you're in the life or death. You have to save somebody's life if somebody is not responsive. So people don't look at those avenues when it comes to the job of being a nurse or even anything that you're dealing with people, and they always just kind of like make it so like whatever. You know what I'm saying? They don't really get into the deep into things and really talk about these are issues that people have and people don't know how to discuss it. And so I really do feel like it is important for us to really come together as a community to have these conversations because so many people don't understand that it's okay to have these issues.
Agreed. Very much agree.
Agreed.
I salute you because I know I heard stories from some of my other friends that are nurses during COVID, even just outside of COVID. It's still a lot on you because, like you said, y'all people typically think doctors and pharmacists are that top notch. I have a pharmacy tech background. People don't know that it's the pharmacists, it's the nurses, it's the CNA that really are in the trenches and doing the work. You're just reporting your knowledge to the doctor to say what he gonna say because you can't give the approval yourself. But you're the one that's actually in the trenches doing the work. You're making the sacrifices, blood, sweat, and tears, and they getting the bigger check and you getting a smaller check of it.
Mm-hmm.
Many doctors ask me in the process of whatever a patient status is, well, what do you want to give them? You're the doctor. You tell me. I'm gonna make you do your job. This is the amount of money you getting, over $150,000 for whatever you're doing. Probably 200 for some doctors, depending on the specialty. And you're asking me what I think you should prescribe your patient. That is crazy. But this is what they do. They have gotten to the normalcy because a lot of nurses have given a lot of doctors passes because they know more and they are more in tune with the patient. So a lot of times they'll say, oh, well, give this. Can you give me an order for this, and this? And the doctors just get into it got into a point where I've worked at places where doctors say, oh, we'll put in an order for this. They won't even write their own orders. I'm writing the order for you. You off. So it's just the power of your signature that is making it valid. But I'm putting the knowledge and the work behind it and working with the patient and being able to assess the patient before you just signing it off. So, and I say all of that to say that when it comes to the stress part of it, you have to correlate and understand the balance. The work life balance has to be put into place, because if it's the stress of your job, the stress of your home, the stress of just whatever life is coming at you at that time, if you don't have some type of balance, you're going to be all over the place. Trust and believe, these last 2 years, I'm just coming out of things that I never discussed. I was going through depression. I was going through stress. I was going through so many mental things that people don't even know because I never disclosed it. But the thing that is so important to me that I have now validated. I put me first. Like he said earlier, if you don't put yourself first, you can't do nothing for nobody. And that is, I am a strong believer that I have to put me first. I can't be a mom. I can't be a nurse. I can't be nobody. So I always tell my patients, even my clients in my business, do this for you. Don't let people make you feel bad for doing something for you. And I'm telling you, it's not perfect because life is gonna life, but you have to do it. And I have learned how to cope with stress so great now that I refuse to argue. I refuse to let anybody steal my joy. I might cuss a few, I might let out a few, steam, but I don't let that consume me for my whole entire day.
Yeah.
I used to allow so much to pile up because I wanted to give this perception that I was fine. But sometimes you gotta have, hey, I'm not fine, and maybe I may need a few days away from the world before I can continue doing whatever I need to do, and that's okay. But you have to normalize self-care. You have to normalize managing your stress and being able to cope with whatever life may come your way. And I feel like when people do that, it's a whole better outcome versus people just getting stuff out of control.
Yeah. You're right. And I like Shonda in the comments. One of the things she said is turning off your phone. Look here, I said this last night on my podcast. I'm one of those people that I'm everybody's person. So I literally, whenever you see me, I had a headset on all the time. I used to sleep with my headset on because if somebody called, I can just answer the phone. I recently just stopped that a couple of months ago. And I'm like, hey, you call 10 o'clock, I'm going to sleep. I'm not up all night no more like I used to be. I'm taking my
Yeah.
behind to sleep. So if you call and
Yeah.
you got an issue, you're gonna still have that issue in the morning. I'm gonna talk to you then. I don't do that.
Okay.
You have to be able to put yourself first. And a lot of us as mothers, we put ourselves last, and you can't pour from an empty cup. In addition,
Okay.
also said is so many times we are always considered or have known to have to be strong. You can't show no signs of weakness. And in
Yeah.
actuality, that comes from way back in slavery of you having to be strong. And you're not supposed to say, oh, you're not okay. Or so, say, hey, I'm weak. I recently told somebody, you know what, I'm tired of being damn strong. They came right back at me with it with, oh, but you're so resilient and this and this. Yeah, when you've been doing
Mm-hmm.
all your life, yeah, you get tired of being resilient and strong. God damn it, I'm tired and I need a break. Hell,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
period.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Well, if you guys are just
I
joining us. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I didn't mean to cut you up. I was just piggybacking on you responded, because I say that all the time. Cup. You have to, because if you pour from an empty cup, what do you have left? Nothing.
Yeah,
And I think also the message should be to our community, like we were saying, like it's okay to have help. Like when we look at the greats, like when we look at our faves, top athletes, all of that, they all have coaches, they all have mentors, they all have somebody to help them be better. So it's just like if they're getting help in these aspects for their talents, why wouldn't you need help with what you're dealing with internally? You know what I mean? So it's just something to consider. I think that's something we have to shape the messaging around to our community so that it'll be like, the stigmatism that we were sold is a lie, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was a lie. Whatever it was a giant plan to tear us down. But it's just like it's okay to need those resources and to acknowledge that you need the resources to be better. So yeah, no, I wear my therapy. I talk about therapy like nobody's business. And like I said, the name of our podcast is the Fake Therapy Podcast, and we talk about having a therapist on there. We haven't had one yet, but no, we talk about it all the time. Like, go outside, like some tips on how to cope. Touch grass, like actually go outside, like what I'm saying.
And
Journal,
ground.
like
Yes.
yeah, like it's like
Mhm.
there are some ways to deal with what you're dealing with, even if you can't afford therapy. Because I think that's the thing too. You know what I'm saying? But granted,
Yeah.
we do have therapy is more accessible than it was back in the day. But
Right.
like just like before you can even get to, a therapist, no, touch grass, go to work out if you can't go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? Work out, like read, like the library is free. There are so many free resources available to us that we don't utilize that much anymore. But it's like they bring you so much peace, like if you actually
Yeah.
and
And
utilize.
if you can't get to a therapist, start a group. Get you a group of like-minded people. I'm in a group of Black Men United. We come together last Tuesday of the month, check our egos at the door, and we just open the air.
Yeah, like find like hobbies, like find like people that like relate to you on certain hobbies, comics, sports, what have you, and then create you a community. Like we've lost. I think I heard this TikTok. We've lost like third spaces where people just come together, and it's just like you gotta create that for yourself though. You have to create it for
Yeah.
yourself, and you just gotta put yourself out there. So I always just challenge people: just put yourself out there. You never
One of
know.
our biggest,
That you didn't even couldn't tell that we were in therapy, but it's like, oh no,
yeah.
So yeah,
But one of our biggest stresses is that we carry the stress of stress. We carry the stress of saying, I can't tell the next person. Because what goes on in our house stays in our house, right?
I hate that.
I can't burden the next person with
Yeah, me
my problems.
too.
I
yeah.
can't say this
I
to
be
this
getting into
person.
people business. No, and I want people to be in man, ask questions,
But
be like,
a lot of people
well,
have that stigma carrying it
Yeah.
with them. And that's why we're not talking to each other in our own communities, in our own neighborhood, even in our own families. Because one of the things I had to tell, especially my brothers and sisters, we had a conversation a long time ago. Like, they're like, we know you. No, you don't. You don't know me because I haven't lived with y'all in over 20, 30 years. I haven't lived with my
Exactly.
brothers and sisters since I've been 18. I see y'all all the time. I love y'all. We love each other. But you don't know me intimately. Like, you know that version of me. So we have to start talking. We have to start bringing people in our business. The right people, but we have to bring people in our business. And sometimes those right people ain't family. It ain't even your right hand man. So like I talk in my men's united group. I walked in the room the first day. I knew three people. There was probably 20 people in the room. I knew three, but I felt comfortable because the three people I walked in with, on the strength of them, I knew they didn't bring bogus people in the room. I said stuff to them that I've been carrying around in my chest for years. And to unburden myself on complete strangers was a relief to me. Fast forward 6, 7 months later, almost a year later, those are my brothers. I'm not even gonna say friends. When I see them, we hug, we dap each other up and hug, not just yeah, that's my man's from the group. No. So it was easy to unburden myself and unpack my pretty box to people who weren't that intimate and intimately close to me. And that's what I do. I unpack my box to those people once a month. And it helps me a lot.
I love that. I love that you do that. And I love that there's other men that are doing it because it's always said
Mhm.
have a place to dump that, like you said, empty that box. They don't have that release for themselves because
No.
society created this thought process that men have to be stronger than what we
E-
already have to be, and that you're not
Exactly.
feel some kind of way. You're not supposed to cry.
Exactly.
You're just supposed to suck it up and take it. And I've never agreed with that
Never.
because
Never.
you're not a robot. Just like black people with strength, we're not robots either.
No.
You're not a robot. You still have feelings just like anybody else. So that doesn't make you any lesser to where you can't have feelings and unload how you feel about what's life and reveal that life is stressing you or that you feel weak today.
And the thing is, I took that to work. Like even at my job, I work in a small group. I work with about 21 people. I'm the only man in my office. I work with 20 females. in my office. I seen your look on your face.
Bless your heart.
But we met this. What I we all sat down and just had a spitball of things, and we came up once a month. We stop and we unload. We call it unpack the pretty box. Everybody writes something down, put it in the box, and we just randomly read and discuss these topics and these issues because we're human. How often do we hear stuff and stuff affect us, and we go to work and we're expected to perform at a work level, and no one takes us for our human level? So we we have to start making sure we have those places in everywhere we are, home, play, work. We have to create those spaces, like you said. We got to start creating those spaces for us, and we got to do it everywhere we're at, so it's normalized. Just like there's a place for people to smoke, there should be a place for people to unleash stress. So those are things you have to start taking, out into people. I don't smoke, but if I can talk to somebody for 10 minutes to say, you know what, whew, maybe that's my smoke break. So we have to start creating these spaces everywhere we are. We do. We owe it to ourselves.
Agreed. I highly agree. Definitely agree.
Yeah, I can because when you work for a job, they come and like whatever. Hey, as a nurse, somebody, hey, did you work with us? Hey, look like
We can't hear you.
because
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
My face. I love her. She's so cute.
And I know she said something great too, because she was all into it.
And it's all when you do that too. Go back where you were before you got right there, because when you was over there, it lasted. It was better.
Let her cook.
She had it. She was leaning forward. She was all into it. I want to hear exactly
I
what she
was
said.
right here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so literally by the where the Wi-Fi box is where I'm standing. So okay, I was saying that I was piggybacking off of what you were saying was that when you work for a job, they just tend to believe that you just supposed to be like a machine. I've worked with people that said, "Hey, I had a patient who died this day in COVID, and we did CPR. We couldn't revive him, but they asked me to go back to the same place. Yes, to the next day." And I was like, you know what? I know I'm here. I don't have nothing against taking care of people in the COVID unit, but today I can't do it. I said maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, but today I can't do it. So I just want to say, you have to do this. You have to separate it. You do, and I appreciate y'all for helping me with this sound situation while I'm out of town. So I'm just glad that I was able to be present for you. I appreciate y'all.
Definitely, definitely. And I feel that with jobs feel like, okay, you getting paid. This is you supposed to do your job. But I think everybody can relate to the point that in jobs, you're not only doing your job, you're doing somebody else's job, you're doing somebody else's job, and somebody else's job, and it's expected for you to be able to take it because you get a paycheck. And if your boss is the kind of boss that knows that whatever your life situation is, they tend to take advantage of that and add to that load even more. So that's what my
And
current
more,
is. My current is my job. So I'm
and
looking
more
for another one.
importantly,
Yeah,
if you
my
want me to
current
be
place of employment.
professional,
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, no. I was gonna say, see, my current place of employment, I've actually can actually say that they're actually very considerate, very compassionate, very empathetic. So I actually had something happen like not too long ago, in which my boss was like, "You need 2 weeks," and I was nervous because it was just like, the business isn't in a good place. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing layoffs. I'm like, oh my God, this is not the time I need for y'all to discover that y'all don't need me. Like, all
Right.
that stuff. But she was just like, she said, no, like, something kind of crazy. Like, no, it's okay. And I was very grateful to my team. You know what I'm saying? Because they were just like, no, we know that you would do the same for us. And so, like, I do feel like, unfortunately, some places, you know what I'm saying, they don't have that culture. But I can say, like I can actually say with my job, I'm actually very grateful for them because we actually do. Because I actually work in benefits, and we actually have a very robust benefit program that actually does support like your mental well being.
That's
Um, and your wellness and all that good stuff because we understand like burnout and stuff like that. So like, um, I do I just want to interject because it was just like I do love my job and we're actually very like on top of like, are you good? You know what I'm saying? And so I hate that that's not everybody's experience though. I will say that. And I hope that that culture does change in the workplace because we're not robots. And, you know, just because we are making a paycheck doesn't mean because I have been at, you know, other employers before where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry you had to go through that, but are you still coming in today for your
Mm,
shift? And
I have one of those.
it's like, no,
I
I'm
have
like,
one.
like you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, you're calling out because you're dealing with something traumatic and you're pulled to the back and they're like, well, the girls just feel like it's not being fair because you're calling out a lot. Not my problem, dog. Like, not my, have a good one. And so, like, you know, once I kind of identify, you know what I'm saying, that that's where I'm at, those places tend to get the shorter version of me afterwards anyway, because I'm like, not for me. Like, because life is for real. And if I'm not going to be allotted a time to handle life the way it needs to be handled, then this isn't the relationship we need to continue because I'm not going to stress myself out keeping a job, you know what I'm saying, that don't care about me. So I'm very
That
grateful. I just want to say I'm very grateful that I came across my current role, my current job. And yeah, I just hope that changes.
I think at the job place, a lot of times it's just not. No one says anything. Like honestly, I keep saying it. I work with women, and you would have thought something like that would be in place because I work with women. I work with 20 women. Y'all are the most feeling, caring people in the world. No one ever said we need to have a mental break ever. And the minute I said it, my supervisor with my boss was like, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we'll just start doing it once a month." It wasn't a thought process. She dedicated a day to it. The very next month, we started doing it. We didn't ask. Nobody before asked. So now we asking and we do it. It's
And
a
that's the
lot of
thing
people
too.
don't think to
Sometimes
ask.
it's like, yeah, it's like closed mouths don't get fed. Like this
You
sometimes.
said,
Sometimes it's like that where it's just like, we haven't even considered it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we already automatically think like, oh, they wouldn't do it, but it's like, did you try? But did we try? Like, there's no
Did you
harm
try?
in trying. So, yeah.
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 And with my job, she is the stress. So at the boss is the stress. So and she be in denial about her being she is the problem. Like seriously, she's the problem why we can't keep staff, why we understaffed, why we out of ratio in the building. She is the problem. And you can't tell her she's the problem.
and that's the problem too. Like
The
people,
big that's the big problem is that she is the problem.
like some people know that they're the cause of people's stress, but they don't want to work on whatever issues that they're having that are causing them to stress other people out with their stress. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's
And those people you just got to move around from. Like,
Oh
so you
yeah.
can
Because
identify that you are a person that actually knows, like, you kind of see that you create turmoil, that you create, you know what I'm saying, like uprising in people's spirits, and you actually do not care, or you actually try to continue to move in that energy, you are someone that I have to not be around. Like, you could not be anything for
def,
me. A friend, a
def,
boss, none of that. Like, especially a
none,
boss, absolutely not.
okay.
def. That's why I'm job hunting because I'm
Mm-mm.
like,
Yeah, no,
like
that's
you
deep.
the problem. When she's not there, everything could be ran smooth. If she come in, it's like everything just start falling apart. Like literally, like the wheels and the steering wheel, everything just start falling apart. Nobody likes to deal with her or nothing. Like when she just like I said, it's just a different piece. It's like you could feel the shift in the atmosphere when she walked through the door.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go around the room and get everybody's final thoughts. I want to thank everybody for you guys' wonderful insight and perspectives. But just what you guys' last thoughts on stress management and coping, and it could be anything.
I definitely believe that you need to do what's best for you, not from what other people say you need to do or don't do. Do what's best
Okay.
for you, because in all aspects you should always be put first, because nothing's gonna run right if you are not right. It's just gonna be a whole snowball, and it's just gonna be total chaos. So find what works for you. If it goes back to reading books, and I love that she said that, because I used to read 4 5 books a week, and I haven't been able to do that in a while. And I'm buying books, but I haven't been able to do it.
I could do a
So
book a day, and it's like now I'm like struggling to make it through a page. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. So I definitely get that and understand it, because that's me. I got the books. I just haven't been able to wrap my mind and sit down and read one. I read about a half a book last year, and my goal was three. So you know where we are right
You
now.
got it. You got
Um,
it. You got it.
Yes, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I also love that you even talked about the grounding. Grounding, I believe, is very important. Like you said, even if you just take your shoes off and just sit in, put your feet in the grass, go and take your music out there, shoot, take your book out there, journal, whatever. Just get that grounding in. And one of the things I discovered last year that I like doing, I love going to walk the trails, just out walking in nature, just doing this thing, the water, the birds, just
Mhm.
seeing everything. And for some reason, which we don't see a lot of us on them trails, but you see the most polite and coolest people that you meet on this trail. Everybody is just like happy, hey, good morning, how are you? And just a whole different level of friendly when you're just out walking. You run across everybody. Somebody's skating, somebody's riding a bike, somebody's actually walking. You see the married couples, you see the single couples. You see a little bit of everything out when you're out just in nature and just enjoying that aspect of nature. So just find what works for you.
Um, if I had to go next, it's hard to follow that because I feel like she touched on all great points. But like
Yeah.
you said, choose yourself. Take a minute to just breathe. Just stop and breathe. Like it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like prioritize yourself because honestly, if you don't do that, you can't really do anything else effectively. So yeah, this was great. I really have enjoyed this.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to try to clean it up and be the cleanup hitter. So here I go. Um, Honestly, like everybody said, do work for you. If it's cuss, you cuss. If it, I drink pop because I don't drink alcohol. But if you need a drink, take a drink. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't do nothing that's gonna hurt yourself. Don't let your stress management, your coping skills become your new vice. Do
Mhm.
everything to the point where it makes you feel the way you need to feel and go back and get in the fight. Don't give up the fight. Understand that, and we didn't cover it, and I'm not going to try to cover it in this 2 seconds. There is distress and there is eustress. Learn to turn your distress into eustress so it can push you and power you forward. Trust me. Every day is
That
stressful. Stressful. Stress is supposed to be a part of life. It's not supposed to destroy your life. So you can make it.
I like that. What's up? I like that.
All right. Nurse Makita, you in the car, so your service might not work. So I got you. I got you. Thank you guys once again for coming on Morning with Moses. You guys, please check out everybody's podcast. I will put their links in the description. I saw that. I already see some links down there, but I will post everybody's links down there. As you guys know, Morning with Moses values human life, criminal justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities with the note that we love all people. We'll see y'all next time.